Time for a quick video, maybe a standalone situation, but basically I live, I'm fortunate, in a nice northeastern village, or in the town where the village is, and it's full of beautiful, these are certainly not the best ones in town, there's a pretty good one, but there's just beautiful older homes all over here. And craftsman style is big here, etc. You know, and everything still has the trim on for the most part. It hasn't been overly simplified for the most part. People keep up with their responsibility to their property and their house. Once again, there are exceptions. That's a bit too much moss to have on the roof. But overall, it's a beautiful community. And the issue that I take is with the houses that, of course, aren't well maintained. But other than that, there are places that have been flipped, and that bugs the shit out of me. Especially when a friend of mine, like in this case, has purchased one of these flipped homes. And just as I walk up, I want to walk through a few things. It's certainly not a bad reflection on him. This is all stuff that a homeowner, your average person, shouldn't necessarily be expected to know. On one hand, on the other hand, I am obviously a proponent of informing yourself before you go and make any big decisions. This is certainly a nice little house, and there's a lot of great things about it. But for example, this electricity being pulled out, taken up and over for a new washer dryer, that's on top in conduit. Below is black pipe, which hooks around and goes into this little shed bump out. That's again for the gas dryer upstairs. The gas comes out of the shed here and goes down, and I think it goes, it'll be hard to see here, but it goes back into the house above the foundation wall there. That's just fucking lazy. You need to plumb that stuff inside. Nobody wants to have to see that, you know, out there. That's just absurd. And right from that, you notice walking up to the place, this is the type of thing that immediately, I'm not even a home inspector, but I don't know who these home inspectors are. They're almost always working in the best interest of the real estate agent to get the thing sold. This is AZAC, or a foam PVC board. It's solid. A lot of older places, if they had good trim that had been painted over and over to protect it so long, people these days wrap it with aluminum, finished aluminum sheet that they bend on a brake to fit over and just slide it in there. The other option is to fully retrim, or if you add a window that doesn't have trim, is to trim it with fresh new solid plastic board, which is a nice material. Your stiles, your rails, your horizontals continue by, they pass, and your stiles, your verticals, die in, they butt. So that's a pass and a butt. Your stiles die in up there, and then down here, your rail should continue past, and your stile should butt into your rail to trim this appropriately. And you may not have seen that the butt in the past was done incorrectly when this was first done, but then people do things like fill with white caulk that grows mold, or another variety that grows a different variety of mold, and now we have yellow here, we have brown here, and we have scum, and the icing on the cake is that you screw this product on here with the specific screws designed to use this product, to go with the product, and they come with little plastic plugs that you plug that are also made of plastic, the same PVC, and when you're all done, those should be invisible to the eye. This person just filled with caulk and smeared it off like that, and you can see now that even from 10 feet or more away, I'm looking at the nails on the big beautiful window that we walk up and approach the house. And then once again, what else have we got here? This is a problem. You don't want bric-a-brac and leaves and organic material to sit right against the wood. If anything, you cut that high, half of an inch at least, or an inch, to keep that something that the breeze can carry through there. The dad with the leaf blower can clear out from underneath. He can just jam it in there. And this is nice that this is open, but you want to blow that stuff out. Otherwise, that'll just be rotten after a time. If you don't want to have to deal with cutting it up and you want this look, you would use plastic fascia. You'd build this all out of treated, and you'd apply some more of this AZAC, or a solid plastic board, to the front, and then you'd be in good shape. In fact, I'd even leave the treated up an inch underneath there, even though it's treated, and then you could bring this plastic right on down and touch the concrete if you wanted. That would be how to do that. Oh, and no primer or paint on top of the factory primer to this door. because it looks white or something, so people just install and leave it. This is just a factory primer. So that's some more half-assery there. Let me come inside where the children's are. But there's been a few more issues here. We're working on taking this soffit out from above the kitchen, but you can see it should have been empty, and that's why that's how I sold the project, was it wasn't necessary. Careful, bud, I'm taking a video. And then we uncovered that the plumbing for upstairs was basically out into this space, which it should not be. There should be the joists coming over like this, and someone was concerned about working in and around them, so they just came down below the plane of the ceiling to do all this plumbing, and that's not what you do. You pick 1, 2, maybe 3 that are going to be in the way of your plumbing. You head them off by cutting them off in space and jumping from the next full one all the way over to the other side to the next full one with a pair of the same size lumber, and make yourself a space that you can do all this plumbing in, and you keep it as consolidated as possible to limit how much deflection there is in that floor. And you may divide it up further when you're done doing the plumbing work to support it, but you just got to get this plumbing up above the plane of the ceiling. We were in here before and we got so much drywall pulled out. We're kind of working backwards here. But we removed just the wall covering underneath the cabinet so he could change the backsplash, and we saw there's no insulation. So not only is that gas and electrical going up the outside of the house and then back inside upstairs, it could have simply been routed in here when you take the wall covering off and you do all the plumbing correctly, which would include that electricity and gas, and then you close the wall back up again and you insulate it and you cover it fully, and you go from there. So this is another sort of an indication that somebody really wasn't aware of all that. They were dangerous enough, but not professional. Here's another unpainted door, both sides. The lath, you can see, is just broken off, and then the wall was packed out another 1.5 inches or so. There's the old wall, the pink. Lath and plaster was painted pink, and that was what was in here. And then for some reason they added furring strips, basically, to bring the surface of the wall out, and never insulated any of it. So I don't know why we needed to gain thickness here. It made for this incredible sort of conglomeration of extension jam and other business here, which sort of complicates matters. And then we have an issue here with this old door. Nobody corrected the framing in this house. So you can see the gap at the bottom is at 1/2 inch, and toward the top we're closing in on maybe 3/16. And yeah, I asked him, do you see problems seasonally with the door? Does it not latch sometimes, and other times does it latch? Oh yeah, that happens. Well, that's because if you look back here, I'll get my flashlight out, there's nothing behind this jamb all the way. You can see I can just deflect that all over the place here, just wiggling that around. And it's the same over here. My buddy, this is his house, he got some real nice long 4-inch screws to try and limit how much wiggle there was in this hinge. It's because all there is for meat here to get a hold of is the jamb, 3/4 inch. After that, it's just empty space. So since he bought nice long screws, you can look at the screw for the first inch or so of the screw, there's no threads. So they go right on in, and they were just flopping around in there. Nothing was helping anything. This needs to be solid framing wood, and solid framing wood over here. And just because there isn't enough room is no excuse. So we're going to take the trim off, frame the opening correctly, reinstall the jamb carefully. I like this old door with a mortise style handle on it. It's fun to have these things in an old home like this. It's just half-assery, and more half-assery. So we will continue to try and turn that around and head in the right direction here, because it is overall a nice little house with narrow hardwood flooring and other redeeming factors like a beautiful entry here, or a little opening and stuff, like I say. There's some things down the road here too. We may look at doing an entire garage here, 1, 2 doors, driveway out that way, and make this into the yard. I think that would make for a really nice addition here, and bring the porch. He'd like to bring the porch around and connect, and then you get a gable kind of headed this way with maybe a couple dormers, which gives us some curb appeal in here with the rest of these sort of pretty houses. We'd have to take this tree out, and but then you could bring that second floor right over the garage and either do an in-law suite with a separate entrance, or make it part of the master bedroom bathroom for the parents here. It would be a really nice sort of use here to this extra big lot in this tight little town, which he's fortunate to have. But these are the things that, like, here it is again, trimmed incorrect. filled with caulk, looked white when they were done, or when it was new and they got their money, whoever did it, or if it was the previous homeowner. This happens even when you get a contractor that doesn't know what they're doing. It looks white and beautiful, and then a couple years later, it's nowhere near fresh enough for you to call anybody up and complain. So it's just, oh yeah, I don't know. That's just what's to be expected, I guess. People write that type of thing off, but it shouldn't be. You know, here it is, all incorrect again. This is expensive stuff. You know, an 8-foot stick of 4 or 5 inch wide, 6 inch wide AZAC is like, geez, over 20 bucks. I mean, they're just hundreds and hundreds of dollars in trimming. Here it is again, wrong. They may have thought that, like, they wanted the water to travel. I don't know what they thought there. It's just not right. Certainly isn't right to fill the holes. I mean, maybe we can go around the comment section if you want to as to whether or not that's acceptable. I don't really care for it. I just can't. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. But the filled holes and the caulk turning brown is all, no, absolutely not. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you.